Horror has never been as romantic as it is in The Haunting of Bly Manor. Allow me to explain. What it is, what it do, is yours truly, Caped Informer, back to review an entry in television horror that should need no introduction, The Haunting of Bly Manor. Netflix's second effort in the anthology series following The Haunting of Hill House, which was another smash hit all on its own. Bly Manor brings us back to the haunted mansion, however, this time, instead of a story based on family history, tragedy, and fractured relationships, this season brings us a love story troubled by psychological trauma, guilt, and just plain denial. It's what some may call perfectly splendid, but for lack of a better term. But definitely don't forget to get acquainted with my subscribe button. I break down all of your favorite TV shows, movies, and more the only way I know how. And just between me and you, the Informer Army needs you, fam. So let me start off by giving The Haunting of series on Netflix the props they deserve for bringing back the true essence of horror back to television. Let's be honest, The Haunting of Hill House was probably the most impressive horror to come out of Netflix in 2018, and Bly Manor is no different. Bly Manor's masterful manipulation of camera angles, sound effects, and just raw acting talent is something that has been nearly lost in the genre and traded in for cheap jump scares. But the crux of their horror relies in these basic elements, which doesn't only prove that showrunner Mike Flanagan is a true fan of the genre, but would rather us less be focused on the flashy CGI horror effects and more on the story, which had to be the strongest part of this horror adventure. The show follows an American au pair in England, Danny, who lands a job taking care of two kids who live in a giant mansion and whose parents have mysteriously passed away. Flora and Miles, the two children she nannies, are both perfectly splendid until they're not. But they've been through a lot, given that the previous au pair, Rebecca, died on the property 6 months previous. Flora, the youngest of the two, is criminally adorable and innocent. She can often be found playing in her dollhouse with her handmade dolls, or peering over Danny's shoulder, seemingly speaking to someone who no one else can see. Her older brother Miles, on the other hand, exhibits more inappropriate behavior, like peering into Danny's bedroom as she changes, or just overall behaving and speaking well beyond a boy of his age. Two kids are hardly the most mysterious aspects of the manor, especially when you take into account the mud prints that start to appear on the stairs and throughout the halls every night, and the strange black figure with round glasses that flashes in random reflections. In the recognizable haunted house subgenre style, the story is told backwards, as the history of Bly Manor and explanation of the strange happenings begins to unfold during the course of the series. I didn't at all mind this style, especially since the slow reveal into what was truly going on at the mansion was as satisfying as it was tragically sad. And it wasn't at all predictable, as a lot of these tales tend to be. The only criticism I may have here is that the main story did seem to get sidetracked by subplots that didn't exactly feel like they added a whole lot to Bly Manor's overall trajectory. Like, the season is 9 episodes, and quite honestly, it could have probably been 7 or even 6 if they cut back on some of the plots that didn't exactly need to be there. I maybe would have minded it more if it weren't for the performances, some of the best acting I've seen in a horror series in a long time. Victoria Pedretti leads this series, and I'm so glad she had the opportunity to. Psychological horror is absolutely her genre, and this was completely evident from the show's first season. But she can't take the credit alone, because pretty much the whole main cast knocked it out the park, especially the two child leads, Emily Bia Smith and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth. I don't know where Netflix has been finding these child talents lately, but they've been striking gold, and we absolutely need to see these two in more series or movies. Oliver Jackson Cohen, who played Peter Quint and who also was a main character in the last season, got to exhibit a lot more of his chops in Bly Manor as well. Guys, all in all, you must see Bly Manor, especially if you've seen Hill House and enjoyed that. Same house, many of the same actors, but a completely different horror story. If you have seen it, definitely leave me your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, share this video, and I'll catch you all in my next one. Peace!